Welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona Rose, and we are here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that we've got coming up. I want to welcome all my new subscribers and thank each and every one of you guys for supporting me. I appreciate it very much. Welcome aboard. If you haven't seen the update that my husband posted for me, I am in Texas. I've had a death in the family, and I'm down here taking care of business and trying to be with the family. But one thing my Aunt Donna always told me was, baby girl, do what you need to do. And this is what I need to do. I need to get my mind off of everything and just decompress, and this is the way I'm doing it. So my videos will be kind of sporadic. I will be doing one tomorrow night after the live show. When I find out who wins the HOH, I'll do a recap of the show and I'll post a video late tomorrow night. So with that being said, let's get into it. I was actually working on this when I got the call, so some of this stuff you guys may already know, and some I've put together tonight and today by watching the live feeds. There was a conversation being had at the dining room table. And I'm not quite sure what Todrick said because, of course, the feeds are cutting out anytime he starts to say anything that will show his true colors. I'll just put it like that. But after they cut the feeds there for a second while he was saying whatever he was saying, and when it came back up, Meisha said, Todrick, that's not right. She said, can you imagine what would happen if I said something like that about a gay person? Todd said, yeah, they would eat you alive. And Lamar said, yeah, dude, that's not right. I'm offended. He goes on to say, that's what happens when certain people are oppressed for so long that we can say things that other people can't. Like us as black people, we can say things that a white person can't say because they would be canceled. I mean, it's just like every time this man opens his mouth, I'm like, can you stoop any lower? But it gets better. It gets way better. Because he said a lot of stupid stuff. That he hopes that Julie Chen calls out Shanna on how she played the game so shady and how she exited the house. That, Julie Chen always says it with class and dignity, but she'll be like calling someone out and saying, did you really think that was the smartest move? And and she'll call people out in a nice way. And he said, I just hope that she's calling Shanna out on her crap. If he only knew. I mean, Julie was like, I think Julie was just as disappointed as we were. If y'all saw what I did when she interviewed Shanna, that she was just like, I'm, sorry you had to play with morons, basically. She didn't say it like that. Because I will agree with Todrick, she always does say what she has to say with class and dignity. He is going to have one hell of a reality check when he gets out of that house. And I, for one, can't wait. And then Cynthia goes on to say at the end of the day that she was hoping that Shanna would show more class when exiting. Meisha chimes in and says that she doesn't have time for women like that, or those types of women who based most of their value in their looks. She says that she doesn't show off in wrestling and that she's worked very hard against that, and she just wants to be one of the guys. Well, of course she wants to be one of the guys. We all know that. And she says it just makes it hard when there are women out there like Shanna that navigate through life like that. I'm sorry, guys, and my voice is cutting out, in and out. Coming from Louisiana heat to Texas cold, my allergies are toast. And this is the next thing that Todrick says, and I'm going to read it word for word so that I don't mess it up. He says he understands that's how she survived, with her looks, hair, and boobs. Maybe that was her strategy in the game and life, and I don't necessarily respect that, especially when it's not accompanied by a great ethical and moral compass. Here we go again with that great ethic and moral compass. I just saw on Twitter, I think it was day before yesterday, that he's something about Todrick Exposed Party, and it shows him on a raft in the pool butt-ass naked. But he's got high morals and at the compass, and he wouldn't allow his daughters to look up to Shanna because that's not what he would want for his daughters. Yeah. And it's funny because all these stories are coming out about people that have worked with him and how he acts towards them and him not paying his dancers and stuff like this. All of this is coming out because this whole time he's been talking about this high moral compass that he has. So of course people are digging and they're finding the stuff, allegedly. He goes on to say that he thinks more like a woman than a man and that that's why Kirkpatrick didn't like him. And that Shanna has male traits and that's why she didn't like him. What the hell does that even mean? All you've been doing is talking about how she dresses and her using her body and her boobs and her hair and all this crap. But then you're going to say she has male traits? Make this make sense to me, people. It doesn't. It can't. It's insanity. So Todrick and Lamar got out of their costumes. They were finally able to turn them in and separate. You know, they were tethered together for 24 hours. I can only imagine. I can only imagine being tied to that man for 24 hours. And Todd says, are you happy that you're finally free? And he said, I bet he talked your ear off the whole time. Todd said, you wanted to say something, didn't you? Lamar said, I just wanted to mind my own business. And then about that time, of course, the feed's cut out. Anytime they're talking bad about Todrick now and Meisha, anytime anything's going on, they either, number one, cut the feeds, or they will turn their mics way down so that you can't hear them, but you can hear the other people in the house. So like if you've got the 4 screens up and you're watching the lives, and say Todrick and Meisha are in 1 and 2, and Carson and Cynthia are in 3 and 4. Meisha and Todrick start talking about something, and immediately their mic goes silent, and all you can hear is Carson and Cynthia's voices. They're trying really, really hard, but he says so much shit that they can't hide all of it. But they're really trying hard to give him and Meisha a good at it. Todrick and Meisha are talking about his house, and he's describing his house to her and how it has a pink elevator that looks like a spaceship, and that each floor that you go up, I don't know how many floors he has, but each floor that you go up, there's pictures of his cats in astronaut suits. Pictures of his cats in astronaut suits on each floor. Talks about having a Disney room and having a Wizard of Oz room and having a 90s room, and he's got a pool and he's got a hot tub. I'm like, well, okay. But you were shaming somebody else that had money and said they didn't need to be on there because they had money. So what is it? He's talked about how he has a high mortgage and that he needs to start doing a lot more to pay for his house. And then he turns right around and talks about doing cameos and says that he does the same generic cameo for everything because he does thousands of them. He just changes and inserts the name, but that they're all the same. So if you send like a birthday cameo, for instance, if I was going to send something to my husband for his birthday of somebody that he really loved, like say, I don't know, any of the car video guys that he watches, then they would send him a personal video that says, hey Aaron, I heard it was your birthday, you know, just want to give you a shout out. And I didn't even know that was a thing, but evidently it is, and Todrick does it, and does thousands of them, but it's all, he was talking about how it was all the same and that nobody would ever know the difference. And then he says, I hope the feeds aren't on right now. Dude, you're in a house that the feeds are on 24/7. I'm sure you have all heard about this, and I did not watch Wednesday night's episode because I was driving down to Paris. So I don't know if they showed it or not on the episode. Todrick and Lamar are tethered together for the 24 hours. They go into the storage room. Todrick's got some new playing cards. He's trying to open them. He can't open them. Lamar says, hand them to me and I'll open them for you. And so Lamar opens them and he rips them. Like half the deck, he just ripped them. Todrick had a meltdown. When I tell you, he threw the biggest titty baby fit that I have ever seen in a grown man. He was pissed. I think I may have already covered this. I don't remember. But anyway, he told Lamar that Lamar was being an asshole. And he just went on and on about it. So Todrick and Meisha wake up in the morning, nobody else is up, and they decide that they're going to talk to the cameras. She's telling him that she doesn't talk to the cameras, and he's like, you should. The public will love it. They just love it when I talk to the cameras. And so he takes her into the kitchen, and they start talking into the cameras. And he talks about how hard it was being tethered to the Lamar for 24 hours. And how he was such an asshole and he ripped up his cards. Like, he can't let it go. And he's still today, 2 days later, he's still today talking about it. Today is Cynthia's birthday. I see that they made a real nice dinner and Carson baked a pie and they just called her to the storage room to get her Moscato wine that she's been asking for. But there was only one bottle and there's 5 of them. But I haven't seen Todrick drink at all and I haven't seen Meisha drink at all. I don't think Todd drinks wine. So the only ones that I've seen actually drinking the wine is Carson, Cynthia, and Lamar. And then Shanna when she was there. So maybe Cynthia will share her bottle with Carson and Lamar. So I was doing some digging around on Twitter today to see what I may have missed in the drive down here yesterday. And I found some rather interesting things. Remember when I said that every time you think Todrick can't go any lower, that he proves you wrong and that it gets better? Well, his mother tweeted, supposedly his mother. I don't know for a fact that is. But everyone is saying that it was his mother. And she asked if Lamar had been rehabbed. And then she said that she can't stand bullies, especially weak ones. That's rich. That's real rich. And I'll just leave it at that. But, I guess right back at you. Because he's having a conversation with Meisha. And this one I'm going to read word for word because I want to make sure that I get it correct. He's talking shit about his mother to the cameras. Or to Meisha, sorry. He says that he really wants to work with his mom, but she won't educate herself about the industry. And he doesn't have time to educate her when she gives him advice because he's too busy getting to the next level of his career. One of my kids said that to me. I will make you think, educate. I don't care what the subject is. I was like, dude, really? And then earlier tonight, he's dogging his dad, saying that his dad's never been there for him. And that he was wanting to audition for some big show. And he was working on a cruise ship. And he wanted to audition for this Broadway show. Oh, he decided he was just going to go for it. So he quit his job on the cruise ship and called his dad and asked his dad for the money to get to, I don't remember if it was New York or somewhere like that, wherever the Broadway show was, that he didn't have the money to get there. And so he was calling his dad asking to borrow the money because he just really, really wanted to try out for this part. And his dad told him not to ever call him again and ask him for anything because he didn't support that gay dancer's bullshit, and don't ever call him for money again. And then he goes into how his mother got on the phone with his dad and was yelling and screaming at him and telling him that he had never been there for Todrick. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, it's a show, but you are national TV. Do you not have any moral, ethical compass? I don't think so. So Meisha wins the POV, and she leaves the nominations the same. Lamar is heard asking Todd why she did that. And he says, because that's the way I wanted it. And that was the end of it. And I honestly think they're going to get Lamar out this week. I think that is going to be the goal. Lamar comes through and he's asking about, I guess he's having to pack because he is on the block. So Todrick tells him that he'll help him pack. And he said, we have an HOH tomorrow, right? And they said, yeah. And he said, and that's after the live eviction, right? And they said, yeah. And Meisha looks at him and says, well, congratulations, Lamar. You're finally getting it. Just in time for you to skedaddle on out of here. Yes, she said that to him. He is the only bright light left in that house. If he gets voted out, I don't know. It's already a train wreck. It's been a train wreck from the beginning because people have not done what they needed to do and get those two out for any of them to have a fighting chance. So, I don't know. In my last video, we talked about the show and how at the end of the show, Lamar said something and Meisha and Todrick were celebrating and laughing and hugging each other and just grinning in her ear, that shit-eating grin. They won, they got Shanna out. And then Lamar said something and their faces just went totally blank. No smile. I mean, it wiped that smile off in a split second. And I was trying to figure out what it was that he said. I rewinded it, I closed captioned it, did everything I could trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure out what it was Lamar said. Well, today I saw the clip of it that someone has enhanced. And what Lamar said was, I was trying to get Todd's attention because I wanted him to vote Meisha out, and I was going to vote Meisha out because I didn't want to make that decision. And that decision he was talking about was getting Shanna out. He said, because I didn't have a beef with her, y'all did. Well, then at that point, Meisha gets up and says, wow, Lamar, I'm going to leave before I say something stupid. And she walks out of the room. And then it shows Todd in the diary room saying, dude, you don't tell somebody when you're coming for him. Like Lamar's been saying he was coming for him ever since he got in there. Just about. Cynthia and Carson are talking, and they're trying to get Todrick and Meisha in a room together so that they can talk to them and make sure that they're going to keep Carson and vote Lamar out. I'm telling you, it's just gut-wrenching. I do not want Lamar to go. That man, he has won my heart over, and I would like to see him figure out a way to stay in it till the end, because I think he'd win. Not winning one competition, not having a social game, but I think if he made it to the end, he would win. So like I said, Meisha won POV, got the nominations the same, so she's feeling real good and safe. Todd is upstairs, and he's talking to Lamar. Lamar had come ask him if he could find one of the shade things that they wear over their eyes so that they can sleep with the lights. And so Todd goes up to the HOH room, and he's trying to find Lamar one, and they're coming out, and he's talking to Lamar. And then it pans down to Meisha and Todrick, and sitting at the table. And Meisha said, oh my God, that man talks so much. So Todd comes back downstairs, and Meisha says, Todd, I swear, you say women talk a lot, but you talk more than anybody in this house. I'm like, seriously? And Todrick, of course, is sitting right there beside her. I'm like, you know, your bestie never shuts his mouth. Todrick's always talking, but yeah, you're going to tell Todd that he's talking too much. And Todd gets irritated, and he's like, Todd said, I know somebody who talks more than I do. And Todrick said, who would that be? And Todd said, it would be you. And Todrick says, you honestly think that I talk more than you do? And Todd said, of course I do. You got me beat by a long shot. And Meisha says, I don't think so. I'd like to see a word count, like somebody keep count of the words that you say and Todrick says, and I think that you talk way more than Todrick does. Todd yells upstairs, Like, he's actually, like, yelling, like, to Big Brother, like, who talks more? He said, who talks more than me in this house? And Lamar's laying upstairs in the loft, and he hollers down Todrick. Meisha's arguing with him and saying, no, Todd talks way more than Todrick does. Lamar yells down and says, shit, Todrick needs his own talk show. And Meisha says, but when Todrick talks, it's engaging. What the hell does that even mean? You're sitting there telling Todd that he's not engaging? Then she goes on to tell Todd, I don't know why you're getting so defensive. I'm just saying that you said women talk a lot. And I'm just letting you know that you talk a lot. And I don't think you want to admit it, because then you would have to admit that you talk more than women. She's starting to play her cards and learning from Todrick. And she's starting to get very snippy with Lamar and Todd. And Todd says, it's because I know that that's not the truth. I know that Todrick talks more than I do, and I don't know why you won't admit it. You're with him all the time. And she said, I'd have to respectfully disagree. I don't think that he talks more than you do. And Todd said, well, of course you don't. He's talking to you all the time. Todd finally, he's getting mad, and you can tell that Todd's getting really mad. And he's finally like, all right, Meisha, whatever. Meisha said, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. And Todd said, well, it doesn't mean you're right either. And the whole time this is going on, the three of them are sitting at the kitchen table. Carson and Cynthia are cooking dinner. And they are keeping their heads down and their mouths shut. Like, they are not getting in the middle of this for nothing in the world. They might be starting to get it. So then the camera's cut, and Todd's going up to the loft. He wakes Lamar up, and the mic is cut completely off. Like, you can't hear anything that they're saying for a couple of seconds, but you can see Todd's hand gestures and stuff, and he's pissed. And he said something about he's going to get Cynthia and Carson, something about he's going to get it to where it's a 2-2 vote, and he's going to break the tie, and he's not sending him home. Then he realizes, no, that won't work, because the only three people that are voting is Meisha, Todrick, and Cynthia. There's no way it can be a tie. So now he's really pissed. He says he wants Meisha out. You missed that chance when you did not put her ass on the block. But now that the nominations have been made, the POV's won, the POV's not used, the nominations are the same, now you want her out? You can't play in the HOH competition. So, you're hoping that Lamar wins it? But if Lamar gets voted out, he's not there to win it. If Carthia, that's a good one. If Carson and Cynthia win the HOH, they're not going to put Meisha and Todrick up. And the more I see what's going down this week, I honestly think that Meisha and Todrick threw that competition to let Todd win. So Todd would be the one to put Carson out, because they made that deal that they would not put him up. So I'm almost positive that Meisha will win the HOH Friday night, but we shall see. So that's all I've got for you guys tonight. I'm going to continue to watch the live feeds tonight. I think that there's probably going to be another Meisha and Todd conflict. I know that when Todd was talking about wanting Meisha out, Lamar said, man, I've been telling you that, dude. So that's pretty bad when Lamar is the one speaking some common sense into the situation as far as the game-wise goes. But I'm going to keep watching and see if I can see anything come back out for a little while before I try to hit the bed. But I am going to make sure that I watch the show tomorrow night, and then as soon as the HOH is crowned, I'll do a video and come back on. I appreciate all you guys' love and support, all the condolences, all of the prayers, all of the nice messages that I've gotten yesterday and today. I have not been able to answer each and every one, but I have seen them, and it brings great joy to my heart for so much compassion from complete strangers. I love you guys. I'm I'm sorry I had to come to you in my robe and no makeup on, but it's been a rough 2 days. I will talk to you guys tomorrow night, and as always, much love.